Good morning, friends. Today we are going to walk through some of the gardens at the house as I do a midsummer garden evaluation. This is the time of year where I go ahead and I want to evaluate the status of the gardens and make notes of any changes that I want to do this fall and for next year. I love doing these videos because I think it's very helpful to see kind of how I look at my gardens, how I plan them, what is thriving, what is not, what was a great success, what I won't do again, all of those things. So this is just a real life look at the gardens here at Creekside Nursery and the house in North Carolina, of course, Zone 8A here in late July. So without further ado, let's get started. I want to start up here at the Woodland garden at the entrance to the nursery. And the reason that I am doing this is because this space has been a labor of love and gonna be honest, have lost quite a few plants in this space over the years as we're trying to figure out what will grow, bloom, and thrive in this shade garden that is underneath massive hardwood trees because the root competition, it is fierce in this bed. The great thing that has really changed this bed in the last month has been that Jerry was able to fix the irrigation, so now it is getting consistent water once a day for about 15 to 20 minutes, especially in the heat of July. Really excited with how the begonias are doing. Y'all, when I tell you that you can prune your annuals, this is going to be the perfect example. These begonias have been pruned. They were the same ones that we were selling at the garden center. Mimi planted them for me, but you can see like right here, this is where that main stem was cut. Another one right here, and look how much it has branched out. So if you look close, you can see where they have been pruned, cut back, and they have gotten nice and thick and full in here. So the begonias, they are thriving. The mini-me chartreuse coleus, all of that is doing well too. But y'all, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why things happen. So here we have three of the pistachio ambrosia euchras. You can see there's a line. The two on the ends, doing great. One in the middle, deader than a doornail. So what that tells me is, okay, you know what? Maybe we just leave those two alone and just leave them there, or we try again. Is it because there was an irrigation issue? I don't know what it is, but really getting the irrigation fixed in here clearly, obviously, has made a nice big difference. So with this bed, we're just going to continue to add to it. Of course, I would love to have more perennials and shrubs in here. And then in the back, that is going to leave me open to put more aspidistra, right? That cast iron plant. I've got some back there, but in the very back, that would be a great space to do it. And then Mama planted these and I was really like unsure. I never would have put these here. This is the autumn frost hosta, of course, from Proven Winners. There's 5 of them right here. But y'all, this gets hot afternoon sun. She planted them over a year ago and they're doing great. I mean, you gotta love the hostas. Mr. Bumblebee right on cue came in to check out the flowers on it, but the lighter your hostas are, the more sun that they can tolerate. And these are just doing phenomenal. So my evaluation of this garden is, if we're gonna plant annuals, obviously it's got to be right on the drip irrigation Broalia. You know how much I love the endless illumination Broalia. But again, right here we had 3 and they weren't quite getting enough water, and two are dead. And 1 is there but not blooming. So this is what they should look like. So this one is nice and happy. So when we plant the annuals in here, they've got to be right on an emitter. Otherwise, it is just a struggle. So this bed, doing really well, but I would love to add some more really drought tolerant perennials and shrubs to this bed with the little pops of color in the front. So next year, we're doing it, kind of do the same thing again here. While we're up here, we might as well go ahead and hit these urns. Y'all, they're glorious. They are absolutely fantastic. We filled the 2 urns up here at the entrance with the Surefire white begonia, and I love it. Huge, massive success. I mean, look at that. Are they not unbelievable? This is why Surefire begonias are so great, because they can do sun or shade. They're relatively drought tolerant, even in a container. They are not big, huge water hogs, and so they make a lovely statement with that nice pop of white right here at the entrance to our house and the nursery. So note to myself, next year we're going to do another begonia in here, because I mean, look at that, just beautiful. The foliage is looking great, the flowers are beautiful. It is on drip irrigation, and there is an aquapot light insert in here, but again, it was kind of rough because the irrigation wasn't working until I don't even know if it was a month ago that we got it fixed. So it's kind of hit or miss, but tough plants that can take less than perfect conditions and just absolutely thrive. Now here at the house, we're going to start kind of here at the cottage garden, because there are great successes. Wouldn't say the dog, she's happy. She is frisky this morning, running around. The heat has not really set in yet today, and so she is feeling frisky. But there are great successes in this garden. There are some design things that I want to change. So here along the driveway in this long skinny bed, we have, this is the Surefire Cherry Cordial Begonia. They are doing phenomenal. They are great. Again, that whole Surefire family, we just love them because they are just great begonias. Yeah, talking about feeling frisky. The child has taken my tub. Now, Brenna, that is not a pot. Thank you. That is my tub. If you know Brenna, you know she loves a good pot, so she thought that was a pot. She better not have put a hole in that thing. I tell you what. I digress. Sorry. The Surefire begonias, they are doing great. There's a double row of them. They are on drip irrigation, and they're beautiful. My quote problem with this is the color, and that is my fault, because we have these beautiful Surefire Cherry Cordial begonias right here that are beautiful, nice deep dark foliage, and they are red. But then we transition into the other part of the cottage garden, and I have the Supertunia Mini Vista Hot Pink, which they, oh my gosh, y'all, they are a rock star. Now right now they may look a little bedraggled, but that's because we got some rain last night, and so after a rain, you know, petunias always look a little disheveled. So I love them, and they are doing magnificently well, but I don't like the difference in the color as far as dark red and then to pink, because I want this garden to feel like one cohesive space. And so thinking about next year, what I will do is we're going to change and do a different petunia, just because I like to have a different look every year. It will be a Mini Vista, because they have just been absolute rock stars this summer. So we will keep the Mini Vista, but I'm not sure which one we're going to do. Without a doubt, my favorite Mini Vistas are Supertunia Mini Vista White, the Mini Vista Hot Pink, Plum Vein, and Indigo. So those all have different, just obviously very different colors, right, in the color schemes. All of those would work in here. I just now have to decide which one I'm going to do, and then decide on that plant that is going to be in mass, because I love that mass planting where the Surefires are. But just trying to figure out what I will put there that will have that same cohesive color look throughout the garden. So we will figure it out. So if it's, let's say we do Supertunia Mini Vista White, then maybe I put the Surefire White begonias there. Or I don't know what else I would put there, but probably the Surefire Whites. So that's just kind of something that I have to sit on and ponder, because I know that I want to do a different quote design in that aspect. So that's why I have to start thinking about it now, because I have to sit on it for a little bit. It's July, and we place our plant orders in October, so I've got a little bit of time, but not quite a ton of time. Y'all think she's all sweet and angelic. Look what she did to my pot. Yes, this big old trug. Can you see that? That tooth just put a hole in this really heavy-duty container. Oh, rotten thing. I know that the Super Tunia Mini Vistas are the perfect choice for this space because here at the base of the steps, y'all, that is 3 plants on each side, and they have got great coverage. I mean, massive coverage. I have not pruned them at all. If I had regular vistas in here, then if I just had 3, they would be overtaking everything. They would probably be climbing up my hollies, taking over the butterfly bush over there, and then of course the perennials. So the Mini Vista is the way to go for me in this space. And then up here in the back, yes, y'all, my angel wings, they are getting burned. It is that time of year. But the Mini Vistas here on the back, every time we have a heavy rain, I think, oh, that's it, they're done for. And then the sun comes out and you give them a day, and my gosh, then they are glorious. Now from a distance, stunning, absolutely gorgeous. You look up close and we're starting to have some raggy looking mess up here, but for now, for them to be like this, and especially from a distance, I am just going to leave them alone. Jerry loves the fact of how they are trailing over the wall. If it were me personally, I probably would have come in here and cleaned them up a little bit, just take off some of the bottom, but they're doing great. I mean, yes, we got a little bit going up into the Montana moss, but if we had had a vista in here, then I mean, it would be ridiculous as far as how they are, they would be performing. So the Mini Vistas, definitely a way to go. I know that you're gonna notice the firelights. They have been absolutely beautiful, but we have gotten tons of those classic summer thunderstorms, and so some of them have started to weep and fall over. Y'all, it is what it is. You know, you could go in there and deadhead it, but they'll perk back up eventually. So it just, again, it just is what it is, and there's nothing I'm gonna do about it. So there you go. All right, the garden boxes. Y'all, I had the best of intentions having this as a potager garden, you know, the vegetables, the flowers, all that together. And life just has a way of lifing sometimes. So the 2 boxes, doing great. The seeds I started, doing wonderful. Can you see the other 2 down there? Yep. Ain't nothing in there, my friends. Not a single plant, nothing. On a side note, I got my garlic all harvested, ate it for the first time last night. Oh, a gorgeous, gorgeous crop of garlic. So I will definitely be planting more garlic this fall. So last year we had in these boxes, it was basically like a flower garden, right? So all of these beautiful different flowers for pollinators and for all the things. And I loved that look. So I'm still on the fence of trying to decide what I want to do with these boxes. I'm thinking maybe I do like a fall winter crop of lettuces and a kale and arugula, obviously garlic. I want to do 2 beds with the garlic in it this year so that I have tons of garlic for next year. And then in the spring, once those cool weather crops are done, and then go ahead and switch it over and do flowers again. To be determined. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Give me an idea of what I can do. Yeah. Keeping probably the center bed with the Rise Up Amberness Rose. I do love having my herbs. So whether it is like basil and parsley, those kinds of things. So I could do that in that bed. I don't know. So this is where my brain is still like pondering and trying to figure out what I want to do. I just know that it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to. And that's okay, my friends, because you know why? Yes, there's grace in gardening. As we continue to evaluate this midsummer garden, I absolutely adore this collection of the pots that Mama and I kind of put together. So this would be a definite repeat for next year. A lot of the pots will be house plants for me this winter. So the ferns, all of those kinds of things, those will come inside, and I will house them indoors. Other things, obviously, like the caladium, the Pegasus begonia, the broalia, those are going to be annuals, so they will come out, and then I will store my pots in the garden shed to keep them protected. And then the plan is for the shrubs with the High Five Green Fingers Fatsia. That one, and then the Let's Dance Hot Stepper Hydrangea, those will go into the landscape this fall. so I can easily, again, put those pots away for the winter. And then the perennials, probably they too will go ahead and go into the landscape, because these containers are not winter hardy, shall we say, and so I obviously do not want to risk breaking the pots in the freeze thaw of the winter, and so probably we'll go ahead and add those perennials to the landscape. And then coming on over, this whole space overall has done magnificently well. I really have not done anything, especially like to the forest pansy bed right here, just other than just a little bit of cleanup here and there. And one of you sweet folks, I had posted a reel, I think on TikTok or somewhere, and you were like, how do your gardens not have any weeds? And I was like, oh honey, there are weeds. You know, it's just camera angles. And as I am sitting here making this video, case in point, because weeds, my gosh y'all, they will absolutely sneak up on you. That, my friend, is not a plant. I mean, it is a plant, but it is not a plant that I want. That is a weed. So nice, big, giant weed, a good, 24 inches long. There you go. So trust me, my gardens are not weed free. Yes, we work really hard to keep the weeds out, but no, they are there. So don't feel bad. But if anything has happened to this bed, it is because the rabbits like to hide in this bed. And then my dear sweet German Shepherd, who loves to try to chase them but has never successfully gotten even close to the rabbits, is a bulldozer in here. So if you see destruction, that is because of the rabbits and Brenna. So basically, I don't have really much any changes in here. So just kind of maintain it and just keep it how it is. And then over on the side, we've had great success. The puffer fishes, this is going in. They haven't even been in a full 2 years. We have a little bit of floppage with this first one. It should perk back up as soon as it gets dry. But the Nemesia, I need to come in here and it is done, right? So this was the Aramance mulberry. I think part of it wasn't getting enough sun, and yeah, but you can clearly tell it just needs to be pulled out. I love the lemon coral sedum again, so I will do that for sure next year. And then having the purple fountain grass in here, I love the color variation. So all of that I am loving, and it is doing great. So a little bit of tweaks here and there, but obviously, yes, we need to come in here and do a little bit of maintenance, but overall, this space is doing really, really well. Case in point, the rabbits love to hang out in the salvia as well. And while Brenna is quite an obedient dog, she once she gets the scent of a rabbit, then she is off. So if you see salvias that are kind of splayed open and have some issues, that would be again because the 100-pound German Shepherd has run through and was an absolute bulldozer, just like she is doing right now. So this is, of course, the the unplugged So Blue salvia, and it will be a perennial for me. Half of these plants were here last year, and I just cut them to the ground, and so they came back and did really well. So again, I will do that. So I will wait till we have our first freeze. It will kill all the foliage, and I will simply cut everything straight to the ground and then just leave it alone. And more than likely, the vast majority of these guys will come back and be nice and strong for next year. So other than the rabbit and the German Shepherd damage, happy with this space. The other day we were talking about here in the backyard, because my double play doozy spireas, my Incredible hydrangeas, they are most definitely in all of their glory. They are mature size shrubs, if not plus a little bit. And so I don't have a lot of room below the doozies to put annuals. And so historically we would always put petunias here. We had Super Petunia Bordeaux here this year. Not gonna lie, it was a struggle. Kind of generally in the backyard, it struggled kind of everywhere. And so as my spireas have matured, I really don't have any space to put annuals here. So like Jerry said, he said, you got two options. One, don't put anything back here as far as the annuals, just let the spireas do their thing. Or two, we can make the bed bigger. So I'm honestly just kind of leaning towards letting the spireas be the star of the show in this area, and just not having anything in here. And just to make you feel better, again, always messes and successes. We had, when we were in Cultivate in Ohio, we knew we had a little bit of an irrigation issue here in the bed, that the drip line was, that there was a hole and it really let loose. And so this is just a wet, muddy mess. The grass is not dead, but in certain areas it is, and so that's the beautiful thing about fescue. We reseed in the fall. So yes, it looks a little gnarly right now, but it will be bounced back and be just fine once we reseed in the fall. We also had the Supertunia Bordeaux in the two corners, kind of in these two beds, and so as my shrubs grow and get really happy, for example, this is Gatsby Gal Glow Ball. This is going to be a more petite oak leaf hydrangea in that 3 to 4 foot range. Y'all, she is a happy plant and loves this space. Obviously, the purple fountain grass is going to be an annual. Next year, I won't plant 3 there. If I do plant, it'll be like 1, and because my hydrangea is going to get nice and big, and I don't want to impede the sun on her. I want her to have plenty of sun. But as these shrubs and perennials are growing, my space for my annuals is shrinking, and that is totally fine. So next year I'll have a hole right here in front of the cherry tree, and then basically a little tiny corner over here by the butterfly candies, just on the edge of the bed. So my annual use here is going to get reduced because my trees and my shrubs and my perennials are really growing and just doing fantastic. And speaking of, y'all, look at, this is little coconut and little lavender. Such amazing butterfly bushes. These basically had complete and total dieback this winter. So what I mean by that is they died completely to the ground. So everything that you see is brand new growth from this year. And they have a lovely fragrance to them and just are doing really, really well. Somebody was asking what the difference is between the butterfly candy and the pugsters. So coming over here, I've got the little coconut and then pugster amethyst. And what I have seen, the main difference is that one is how they handle the winter. So like I said, my butterfly candies, basically they all died to the ground, complete and total dieback. So I had to cut them, shear them to the ground. My pugsters, they did not have nearly that kind of damage in the winter. So they kept some foliage. I call them semi-evergreens. And while I still do prune them because your butterfly bushes bloom on new growth, I still had more foliage and it didn't have as much dieback in the winter. And then the next thing would be their blooms. So the butterfly candy, they have what I would consider to be just a little bit of a smaller bloom. So the bloom is a little bit smaller, but very, very prolific. And you can see all of the new buds that are coming. I have not deadheaded these at all. And then we come over to the pugster and it has bigger blooms. So when you can see them, like this guy down here, see we got all these sweet little butterflies on here, right? So you can kind of see the difference. Your pugsters have the amethyst has a nice thicker bloom on it than the butterfly candy. So in my opinion, you always need to have plenty of butterfly bushes in your garden. And then continuing for the garden evaluation here in the summertime, what am I going to do different here on the patio? So if you were with me, I don't know, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, when I came in here and I pruned the Cleome, and I said that the Supertunia Vista Cool Jazz, it was driving me crazy. Well, you can see that it is gone. That afternoon that I taped that video, those petunias, they were out of here. I just could not handle the jungle look. And so I said in that video, and I'll say it again, love petunias back here, just not vistas. Definitely a space to do mini vistas, not vistas, and really not even just traditional Supertunias. My space is very limited in here, and so this is that perfect space for those mini vistas, because just like at the patio, I mean the hydrangea hill and the garden boxes, I will get coverage, but I will not get it overtaking. And look how well the cleome are bouncing back, right? So of course we pruned them really severe. Went ahead and did both the time release fertilizer on them and the water soluble. Look at all of that beautiful new growth. We have got flowers. Everybody is thickening up and bushing out. Y'all, it hasn't even been 2 weeks since I did this pruning. Sorry about that, my friends. While I love that little camera, it cannot handle the heat. Even been in the shade, it is just too hot for it, so it freaks out. So I switched cameras. Going back to, yes, definitely we'll be doing mini vistas back here in the back, and will not be doing a tall thing like cleome. So what we will do is just fill in that area between like the camellias and just have the mini vistas in that space, and probably will not be in front of the camellias, because my October Magic white shishi camellias, I want them to get tons of sun so that they will be covered in flowers this fall. Quick update on the deck boxes. Y'all, could not be happier with this. Every year I do something different in this space, and it is just a fun thing. I don't plan it ahead of time. It is what it is, and it does great. So of course this year, since my blue chiffon is getting nice and big, I wanted to do things that were more on the low growing side, like as far as the hangers. Look at this. This is one of the new introductions next year. It is this Super Bell. It is a double Super Bell from Proven Winners, of course. Oh my goodness. Love this color on it, and it just pairs beautifully with the White Wonder Caladium, the Angel Face. This is the white, and then that Unplugged So Blue Salvia. I mean, I absolutely adore this Super Bell. And if you know me, sometimes I'm not a huge fan of Super Bells because maybe they don't perform as well for us, but this one, that's the rock star, and everything here has done really well. So again, we will just continue to have fun with the annuals in here, and just who knows what we'll do next year. One of the best ways that I can remember what I want to do differently for next year is because Jerry says I have the memory of a gnat, which is not a big exaggeration. You know, pregnancy, it just did it to you, and then you hit your mid-40s and your memory really goes. So what I do is I do not trust myself to say, oh, I'll remember that, because no, I won't. So I have, every year I create a note in my notes app on my phone, and it's the next year. So for like right now, it is 2027 garden plans. And as I realize something, then I just make a note in there, right? So no vistas in the back patio, must be a mini vista. Over here, make sure that the long skinny bed coordinates and goes with the cottage garden, and then maybe I'll brain dump some ideas. So it's just really a brain dump, so that way when for us, because we have to order our plants so early in the season, like I said, in the fall, for you maybe that's maybe you're doing your pre-order in the fall, or maybe you're going to do it, you know, after the new year, whatever. So that way all of those ideas are still really fresh in your mind. And you think of, oh, well, this plant did magnificently well. I definitely want to do more of those. Or, my gosh, that was a dud. We're not doing that again. So whatever the case may be, just put it in there so that way you can come back to it and it will refresh your brain, and it will be easier and more efficient in planning your garden. So this is the time of year really where I evaluate really heavily of my garden, because I can't trust Winter Garden Jenny, right? So Winter Gardener Jenny is the one that has these grand ideas. I'll start all this stuff from seed. We'll do this, we'll do that. Because when you get to midsummer, Jenny, she's tired of sweating, and she's getting done. So we're keeping it low maintenance but high performing. So there you go. I know that Winter Jenny will still interject some crazy nonsense in there, and it's fine. It's what keeps it fun, right? So anyway, I hope this has been a little bit helpful as far as to see how you may go through and evaluate your garden, things that you want to do differently, things that you want to add, take away. there's always some fun to get happening in the garden. As always, we so appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss those 5 videos that we do each and every week. Y'all have a great day. Brenna, Miss Mischief, and I, we will see you later. Bye, friends.